So Apple is working on an AI pin that could finally make wearables smarter than phones. Microsoft is teaching robots to understand language, touch, and adapt in the real world. OpenAI is rolling out age prediction inside ChatGPT, changing who gets access to what. And YouTube is turning AI into a full creation and shopping engine for 2026. All right, let's start with Apple. According to a detailed report from The Information, Apple is working on a brand new AI wearable that's roughly the size of a slightly thicker AirTag. Not glasses, not a watch, not a phone replacement, a pin, a flat, circular device designed to live on your clothing. Early prototypes described by people familiar with the project point to a thin aluminum and glass disc with a single physical button on the edge and a rear charging system similar to the Apple Watch. The interesting part is what's packed inside. This pin reportedly includes 2 front-facing cameras, 1 standard lens, and 1 wide-angle lens, along with 3 microphones and a built-in speaker. That combination alone tells you what Apple is thinking here. This is not a passive tracker. This is a context-aware device that can see, hear, and respond without you touching a screen. Apple is said to be targeting a launch window around 2027, though the report is very clear that the project is still in early development and could be delayed or canceled if it doesn't meet Apple's internal standards. That caution matters because the history of AI pins is already filled with failures. Apple knows that, and it's part of why they're moving slowly. The timing still makes sense. Apple has been very clear about its direction with Apple Intelligence. At WWDC, the company laid out a system built around on-device models that handle things like summarization, image generation, and proactive suggestions, with heavier requests routed through private cloud compute. The missing piece has always been real-world context. A phone only knows what you tell it. A wearable pin knows what's happening around you. This is where Apple's hardware stack gives it a real advantage. Its custom silicon already includes extremely efficient neural engines, optimized for low-power, on-device inference. On top of that, Apple's UWB chips, the U1 and newer U2, already power precise location tracking across iPhones, Apple Watches, and AirTags. Combine that with a compact camera system, and suddenly you have a device that can recognize objects, understand scenes, and retrieve information instantly without pulling a phone out of your pocket. The dual camera setup suggests Apple isn't just thinking about quick snapshots. A wide lens can capture environmental context, while the standard lens focuses on detail. With 3 microphones, the pin could transcribe conversations, summarize meetings, or translate speech in real time. The speaker allows for discrete audio responses, and that single button likely serves multiple roles, triggering capture, muting microphones, or activating the assistant without relying on a wake phrase. From a usability perspective, the use cases are subtle but powerful. Identifying objects, logging ingredients while cooking, recognizing parts during repairs, pulling directions on the fly, or offering accessibility features like scene descriptions and object alerts. The pin could also act as a precision-finding beacon using UWB, doubling as a safety or family location tool. All of that sounds compelling, but Apple still has to solve the same brutal problems that killed earlier AI pins. Battery life is the first one. Continuous audio capture and computer vision drain power fast. Thermal limits are the second. Packing cameras, neural processing, and radios into a coin-sized chassis risks heat buildup. And then there's social acceptability. Visible cameras on clothing raise privacy concerns immediately. The cautionary tale here is the Humane AI pin, which reportedly sold fewer than 10,000 units before the company shut down, despite raising hundreds of millions of dollars. Reviews consistently pointed to latency, limited usefulness, and battery issues. Apple will have to deliver fast responses, clear feedback, obvious capture indicators, and extremely strong privacy controls. Tight integration with iPhone and iCloud is non-negotiable. Alright, now quick break for a short detour. If you work with AI a lot and end up jumping between different models just to see which one actually fits a task, today's sponsor Mammoth makes that whole workflow much easier. Mammoth brings most of the major AI models into one place. Claude, GPT, Gemini, Llama, Mistral, Grok, DeepSeek, Perplexity for deep research, plus image models like Flux, Nano Banana, and Recraft. And everything runs inside a single dashboard. What really helps in day-to-day use is the comparison setup. You can send the same prompt to different models at the same time and instantly see how each one responds. That makes it easier to choose the right model for writing, research, analysis, or images without guessing. You can also create custom mammoths, basically your own presets with specific instructions for recurring tasks, and keep things organized in projects. On the privacy side, Mammoth is based in Europe, with data hosted in Germany, fully GDPR compliant, and models aren't trained on your data. Prompts aren't retained by providers, and you can delete your history whenever you want. Plans start at around €10 per month, or roughly $12, and it's already used by hundreds of companies and public institutions. Check it out using the link in the description. All right, now back to the video. While Apple explores intelligence on the body, Microsoft is pushing intelligence into machines that move and touch the physical world. Microsoft Research has unveiled a new robotics-focused AI model called RoAlpha, and this one targets a long-standing weakness in robotics: adaptability. RoAlpha is Microsoft's first robotics model derived from its 5-vision language family, and it's designed for what Microsoft calls physical AI. Instead of operating in controlled factory environments with rigid scripts, this system translates natural language instructions into control signals for robots performing complex two-handed manipulation tasks. Microsoft is currently evaluating it on dual-arm platforms and humanoid robots. What makes RoAlpha different is the way it blends multiple sensing modalities. Vision is there, obviously, but it also incorporates tactile sensing, allowing robots to adjust their movements based on touch rather than relying solely on cameras. Microsoft plans to add force sensing and other modalities in future versions, which pushes this even closer to how humans interact with objects. Adaptability sits at the center of the system. RoAlpha doesn't just execute pre-trained behaviors, it can change its actions during operation. When a robot makes a mistake, human operators can step in using intuitive tools like 3D input devices, correct the motion, and the model learns from that feedback. That learning doesn't stop after deployment either. Microsoft is working on techniques that allow the system to continue improving over time. One of the biggest barriers in robotics has always been training data. Collecting demonstrations by teleoperating robots works in limited scenarios but becomes impractical at scale. Microsoft addresses this by combining physical robot demonstrations with simulated tasks and large-scale visual question-answering data. Much of the synthetic data is generated through reinforcement learning pipelines running on Azure-based robotics simulation tools. Those simulated trajectories are then mixed with commercial and open data sets collected from real robots. Industry partners argue that physically accurate simulation is one of the few ways to overcome the lack of diverse robotics data, especially for complex manipulation tasks. Microsoft's goal here is to give robotics companies more control, letting them train systems on their own data with their own robots. RoAlpha will initially be offered through a research early access program, with broader availability planned later through Microsoft's Foundry platform. The message is clear. As robots move closer to human environments, adaptability, learning, and trust become the defining factors. All right, now, OpenAI is dealing with a different kind of real-world problem: safety, age, and access. The company has started rolling out age prediction across ChatGPT consumer plans, designed to estimate whether an account likely belongs to someone under 18. This isn't based on a single signal. The classifier looks at behavioral and account-level patterns, including account age, time of day activity, long-term usage patterns, and any stated age. When confidence is low, the system defaults to a safer, teen-oriented experience. Accounts flagged as likely under 18 receive tighter limits around content categories like graphic violence, risky viral challenges, sexual or violent roleplay, self-harm depictions, and content promoting extreme beauty standards or unhealthy dieting. For adults who are incorrectly flagged, OpenAI allows access to be restored through a verify age flow in settings. That process uses selfie-based verification via Persona. The rollout is already underway, with EU availability planned in the coming weeks to account for regional regulatory requirements. This sits within OpenAI's broader teen safety program, which includes parental controls that allow parents and teens to link accounts, set quiet hours, manage privacy, and feature settings like memory and training, and receive alerts in certain high-risk situations. Feedback so far has been mixed. Some users support stronger guardrails, while others raise concerns about false positives, behavioral inference, and the sensitivity of selfie-based verification. It's a reminder that as AI becomes more embedded in daily life, governance and safety systems have to evolve alongside capability. Intelligence isn't just about what models can do, it's about who gets access and under what conditions. And that brings us to platforms, specifically YouTube, which is laying out a very ambitious roadmap for 2026. In his annual letter, YouTube CEO Neil Mohan outlined the platform's next phase, centered around AI-powered creation tools, in-app shopping, and major updates to Shorts. YouTube is introducing 3 major AI creation features. Creators will be able to generate shorts using their own digital likeness, build simple games from text prompts through the experimental Playables program, and experiment with AI-assisted music creation. Adoption of existing AI tools is already significant. More than 1 million channels used YouTube's AI creation tools daily in December. Around 20 million users discovered content through the Ask tool, and 6 million daily viewers watched at least 10 minutes of auto-dubbed content. Mohan emphasized that AI is meant to support creators, not replace them. At the same time, YouTube is strengthening spam and clickbait detection systems to reduce what he described as AI slop, addressing growing concerns about low-quality AI-generated uploads flooding the platform. Commerce is another major focus. YouTube is launching in-app checkout, allowing viewers to purchase products without leaving the platform. Over 500,000 creators are already part of YouTube Shopping, and Mohan highlighted cases where creators generated millions of dollars in shopping-related sales during 2025. New brand partnership tools will allow Shorts creators to add direct sponsor links, and a post-publishing feature will let creators swap branded segments in older videos to create recurring revenue streams. Shorts itself is evolving. Image posts are coming to the Shorts feed, blending static visuals with video content. With Shorts averaging around 200 billion daily views, this shift brings YouTube closer to mixed media feeds seen on other platforms. Enhanced parental controls have also rolled out, giving parents the ability to set time limits for short scrolling, including the option to set viewing time to 0. Mohan also reviewed progress from YouTube's 2025 roadmap. Auto-dubbing is now live across the YouTube Partner Program. AI tools for generating video ideas, titles, and thumbnails are available through the Inspiration tab. Some YouTube TV upgrades, including fully customizable multi-view, are still in development and expected soon. YouTube disclosed that it has paid over $100 billion to creators in the past 4 years. The 2026 roadmap is clearly designed to accelerate that ecosystem, keeping creation, discovery, and purchasing inside a single platform. That's where things stand right now. So here's the real question. Is Apple's AI pin finally going to be the one that sticks, instead of ending up forgotten like every other AI pin before it? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like, subscribe for more AI and tech breakdowns. Thanks for watching, catch you in the next one.